Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who will well and teach well, being great. Zam Shacham brothers. Peace and blessings to all four elect, Lord willing to be a part of that number. All right, I'm the brother Kodar from the GMS Band Chicago, coming back with another video. This video is going to be entitled "The Son of Belial Spirit is in Full Effect." Okay, because we're in these last days, and shit's gonna get even more wild. It's only gonna get more crazier, as we closer to our Lord Yahweh Shai's return. You're gonna see things like this more and more. Okay, I got a few clips, because this is from it's a post on Instagram. They said ATL YNs, Atlanta YNs posing, in skirts now, which Atlanta, is a notorious, son of Belial city, Salakia. Everybody knows this. All right, but these guys are everywhere. And these guys, when this shit go down, man. As a matter of fact, I believe I was watching the Hurricane Katrina documentary, man. Where they opened up the stadium, and they released the prisoners. Okay, hey man, it was wild, man. I suggest every brother to watch that documentary. That was crazy, man. And it was that shit was wild, and it's only a prelude of what's about to happen. It is gonna be even worse than that. But the Lord gave us a little prelude, and now Esau's coming out with the documentary for that. I suggest brothers watch that, man. That shit was crazy. But let me play this video real quick. It's from I screenshotted this, from the series Boondocks. What this dude Riley thought Gangstalicious changing his apparel, was a gangster thing. Where gangbanging is actually a gateway to homosexuality. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of these quote unquote gangsters, they all moles. Okay. They're all moles, man. They're all foo-foo boys. So let me play this quick clip. And I got this one right here. This one is crazy right here, man. But play it real quick. That was a skit. But, that's actually how it is nowadays. I see a lot of memes or a lot of, not a memes, but videos where, it'll be a man walking with a woman and, a dude will stroll up, with his car and, throwing out compliments, but it's not for the woman, it's for the man. These are the sons of Belial, man. And that Hurricane Katrina, it was a lot of taking, of men and women, and it's only going to get worse, man. Okay, so let me play this quick clip, okay, because this is the spirit that they're in. We're going to grab that judges as well, okay, because a lot of you dudes going to get snatched up, man. A lot of you dudes going to get ravished. A lot of you women are going to get ravished, okay, if you're not under that Psalm 91, all right, which is why it's important to repent and turn back to Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, so let me play this. Yeah. Now I don't know the full context of that clip. You know what happened, but that's some son of Belial shit, man, right there. You know, and we see it on an everyday basis. Brothers who are, this is why Apostle Hart say, just get a gym at your house. Because you go to these spots like I'm here in Chicago. Export or LA Fitness or Planet Fitness or whatever. It's just a influx in a infestation. Okay, infested with moles, man. Infested with sodomites. Okay, swole mighty sodomites. You know, all type of weird encounters, man. That's why the apostles say, it's best to just get, a home gym if it's in your ability to do so. Man, man, that shit just, it just irks my spirit, man. When I'm in a gym and I see these dudes, man. You in a gym, you supposed to be, well, you working out, you feeling good. You see these fucking moles, man, you just get vexed. So let's read this Judges 19:1. It says, and it came to pass in those days when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah, and his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. Okay, so she broke bad. She played the whore, committed adultery. She was supposed to be put to death. Verse 3, and her husband arose and went after her. Okay, which her father should have put her ass to death. He should have came back and, he was like, oh, well, my daughter gone, bro. She played the whore against you. It says, verse 3, and her husband arose and went after her to speak friendly unto her and to bring her again, having a servant with him a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him. He abode with him 3 days, so they did eat and drink and lodge there. Yeah, he was supposed, that concubine, that damsel was supposed to be put to death, man. For playing a whore. Okay, so let me skip down to let me see. Verse 20. Okay, because this was let me see. Yep, the last night, with the father, before he took off, to go back to his land. So let's read. It says Salakia. No, Salakia. He been left. Yep. I'll start at verse 14. It says, and they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them when they were at Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, which was also out of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah, but the men of the place were Benjamites. And we're here, Salakia. It says, and when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, whither goest thou, and whence comest thou? And he said unto him, we are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, toward the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I, and I went to Bethlehem, Judah. But I am now going to the house of the Lord, and there is no man that receiveth me to house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me and thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servant. There is no want of anything. And the old man said, peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street. Because it was a part of our customs, a part of our hospitality, to take strangers in. When I say strangers, people of our nation. Nowadays you can't even look at a nigga, man. He'll try to fight you. Give me 1 second. All right. Verse 21, it says, so he brought him into his house and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet and did eat and drink. Now as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. All right, meaning to have sex with him. Okay, these were those sons of Belial, man. You know, grouping up surrounding this man's house, telling him to come out. Verse 23, it says, and a man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is coming to my house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Then I will bring them out now and humble ye them. So he was willing to offer up his own daughter for, a man he didn't even know. You know? So it says, let's keep reading. It says, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. Okay? But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her. All right, meaning they slept with her. They raped her. Okay, it says, and abused her all the night long until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was till it was light. Okay, so she was through. They smoked her. You know. Let's keep reading. It says, verse 27, and her lord rose up in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. Okay. It says, and he said unto her, up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up upon an ass, and the man rose up and gat him into this place. You know, so she was dead, man. They literally fucked her to death. You know, a group of these niggas, man. You know, so she got the judgment for playing the whore. You know, that's how the Most High played out her judgment. You know, hey, and these type of things was happening in the moments of the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. You know, that's why I suggest brothers heavily watch. I heavily suggest brothers watch that documentary, man. You know, because it was very heavy. Okay. So this that son of Belial spirit, man. You know, they ready to take that. Okay. Hey, they said, bring this man out the house so we may know him. All right, this that spirit that they're in. They in this spirit, man.
All right, so since you already went viral on social media, I'm gonna make you go viral again. I was staring at you because you cute and you look like you got a big dick. What happened? Do something. You backed the knife out and I got this pole and I'll bust your shit open. Why are you so quiet now?
That's the spirit that they in, man. This the spirit that they're in. Okay? And this is a spirit, all right? This is a spirit on these dudes, man. You know? And as a man, that's the lowest of the lowest to be a sodomite. That clearly means that Yahweh Shem Shai is not dealing with you. And he has you slated for destruction. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me see. Let me see. Yeah, the same thing happened with with the angels. All right, Genesis 19. I'll start at 1. It says Genesis 19:1, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, behold, now my Lord, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house. And that's how you know that angel was Yahweh Shai. you know, because Joshua in Joshua 15, he also bowed down to that angel that was the captain of hosts, which was Yahweh Shai, you know. And Exodus it said, beware of him, you know, because my name is in him. All right. And in Revelation, when John bowed down to the angel, he told him not to. You know, he said, I'm your fellow brethren. Okay. And it's a capital A as well up there. All right, let's keep reading. It says, let's do verse 3, Salakia. It says, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. Once again, that hospitality. Okay. All right, it says, but before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house around, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. Just some old and young freaky niggas, man. Fleece Johnson type niggas, man. You know? Verse 5, and they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Once again, you know, they on that Fleece Johnson type timing, man. Verse 6, and Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. All right, and Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, it said he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, the filthy conduct. All right, and this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. America is an amalgamation of all these kingdoms in the past combined. All right, it's the most wicked kingdom. It's going to get the worst judgment because of that. Okay, because they've adopted all the wickedness from these kingdoms of the past. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says, verse 7, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. And they said, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now we will deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. All right. Came near to break the door. So let's read that. Let's read that in the AMP. Okay. Let's read it in the NLT first. It says, stand back, they shouted. This fellow came to town as an outsider, talking about Lot. And now he's acting like our judge. We'll treat you far worse than those other men. And they lunged towards Lot to break down the door. You know, so they was coming for him as well. All right, let's read that in the AMP, the Amplified version. It says, but they said, get out the way. And they said, this man, Lot, came as an outsider to live here temporarily. Now he's acting like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than your visitors. So they rushed forward and pressed violently against Lot and came close to breaking down the door of his house. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says, but the men put forth their hand, meaning the angels, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut the door and shut to the door. All right. So that's spiritual power right there. You know, it says, but the man put forth their hand, pulled Lot into the house to them. All right. And they smote the men that were at the door of the houses with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. So they made them blind. Okay. And these are the angels that came to deliver Lot. Okay. So this the spirit that's only going to continue to ramp up. You know, so Lord, when this lesson is edifying, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those 4 elect. Lord, willing to be a part of that number. Shalom. Kwame Asharala, Wa Baba Ball.